In our digital world, data has quickly become one of the most valuable commodities. It's not difficult to see why. With accurate, focused data, a state can improve the lives of its constituents. Firms can use data-driven strategies to compete within their markets. But what happens if our underlying assumptions about data and data collection are flawed? Imagine you are training an AI to analyze language. Unbeknownst to you, the corpora, the collections of text you are using to train the AI, contain significant data gaps. Within this corpus, female pronouns appear at half the rate of male pronouns. So what? Why does this matter? Well, let's say your AI was used to optimize search engines. When someone searches the word nurse, a traditionally gendered profession, an AI trained on gender-biased data will automatically consider any texts that involve female pronouns to be more relevant than those with male pronouns. So, even though you really didn't intend to, you've perpetuated stereotypes and contributed to sexism. Oops. Well, luckily this is all just still a hypothetical, right? In her 2019 book, Invisible Women, Caroline Criado Perez essentially writes a giant literature review to prove how in our world, data and data collection marginalizes women and benefits men. Criado Perez provides countless examples of how society's reliance on biased data to drive decision-making can exacerbate problems or create new ones unique to women. This isn't part of some intentional plot to keep women down. In fact, the real danger, says Criado Perez, is how unintentional it is. Consider snow clearing, the act of removing snow from public roads or walkways. In Karlskoga, a town in Sweden, the snow clearing schedule was designed by men who built the schedule around how they used transportation infrastructure. As a result, snow was first cleared from the main roads and then later from the walkways and the bike paths. Herein lies the problem. Men and women use transport differently. Women are more likely to use public transport, but men are more likely to own and drive cars. They also need transportation for different reasons. Women, who do 75% of the world's unpaid care work, are more likely to trip chain, that is, breaking up journeys into small, interconnected trips in order to complete tasks like bringing children to school or an elderly family member to the doctor. Men, on the other hand, mostly use their car to travel between their home and their workplace. With these differences in mind, Karlskoga's town councilors decided to switch the schedule around to prioritize walkways and bike paths first. With the old schedule, pedestrians, who were mostly women, were prone to injuries through slips and falls on icy pavements. In the Swedish city of Umeå, a study discovered that 79% of pedestrian injuries occurred during the winter months. Women made up 69% of these incidents. On top of this, women's injuries were often more severe. These injuries end up costing the state money in both healthcare and lost productivity. Criado Perez writes that even with a conservative estimate, the cost of pedestrian accidents in icy conditions was about twice the cost of winter road maintenance. Later on, she writes that similar snow clearing schedules that accounted for gender differences ended up cutting down pedestrian accident rates in half. This data gap was not a result of some patriarchal conspiracy to make sure women kept slipping in the street, nor was it a deliberate attempt to benefit men while disenfranchising women. It was simply a result of a lack of consideration of women's perspectives and experiences. In other words, a data gap. It is a reflection of the sexism that is present within our world, much like the example of the unintentionally sexist AI you hypothetically created earlier. In a world designed by men, where men and their perspectives are automatically considered, women suffer. Take, for example, how heart attacks are treated. Aspirin is considered to be a common preventive method against heart attacks. However, this is only found to be true for men. According to studies, aspirin is a non-effective preventive method for women. Another example, women and girls present autism completely differently than men and boys, but diagnostic tests do not take gender differences into account, meaning women are disproportionately underdiagnosed. From its collection to its analysis, data is integral to how we see and make sense of the world. But with our growing reliance on data, we are obligated to consider what that means for women. AI is being used to process job applications, diagnose individuals, offer loans. So if the data we train it on unknowingly reflects our sociocultural biases, the implications are worrying. If we move forward with a conscious understanding of these data gaps, we can work to eliminate them. We can all work towards ensuring that women's perspectives are considered when measuring how we see the world, and humans are considered the default, not just men. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you're interested in reading more about this, I invite you to read Invisible Women. It's a great book, and I highly recommend it. I wish you all a happy holidays, and I'll see you next semester. Bye-bye.